end goal has always been, how do we make Sheffield Lake better? And my leadership style is taking the advice from people. It's not only the smart aspect, but also listening to citizens.
Welcome to episode 72 of the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast. I'm your host, Ed Skimmon. This episode of the podcast is made possible thanks to the generous support of our champion sponsors, Community Foundation of Lorain County, Lorain County JVS, WOBL Radio, Lorain County Commissioners, Emerge Inc., and Lorain County Community College. Today, we're talking with Mayor Rocky Radeff, Mayor of the City of Sheffield Lake. Join us as Mayor Radeff talks about the unique character of Sheffield Lake, highlighting its family-friendly environment, recreational opportunities, and lakeside amenities. He shares his administration's priorities around communication, city beautification, and recreation, while also discussing recent accomplishments, ongoing projects, and future goals for the community. Here is my conversation with Mayor Rocky Radeff.
I'm Mayor Rocky Radeff. I am the mayor of the City of Sheffield Lake.
Welcome, Mayor Radeff. Thank you for joining us and sharing your insights. To begin, how would you describe the character of Sheffield Lake, and what do you think makes it a unique place?
I think what makes Sheffield Lake a really unique place is that it's one of those places you really can raise a family. We have a lot of little amenities. We have 11 different parks. We have paths. We have obviously our boat launch, which allows you to go fishing, boating. We have access to the lake. We're not too far from some of the other bigger cities if you wanted to travel there, whether it be Cleveland, Sandusky, Elyria, Avon. So we're still that kind of more modernized small town, I'll say, is that you're going to come here and we welcome anybody. You're able to get your fix of, like you said, everyone has a nice neighbor. Everybody has a park they can go to. We have things that are going on that people can participate in. So I think we're just characterized still as that kind of small feel, but still knowing that if you do want to go to a bigger city, there's plenty around.
What are some of the key priorities and initiatives that you and your administration are focused on right now in the city?
When I do the mayor's luncheons in which I speak every year with the other mayors, is I always go through and say exactly what I ran on. I ran on three aspects. I ran on communication and responsiveness. I ran on recreation development and city beautification. Right now, those are our three main spots. We've made a lot of great strides in each and every one of those, but I feel that kind of encompasses all the important things of the city. So from beautification, that's where you talk about police and infrastructure and developing roads, to recreation, to make sure the park's up to date, that there's activities and events for people to go to. Now, obviously communication, which is key, especially today, making sure that people have access to you and are able to talk to you directly is very important. And making sure that I'm also presenting to them in a lot of areas in which that they're getting the information from me, because if it's coming from me, then that's where we're going. And like I said, it's more important to hear it from me than hear from someone on social media.
Let's talk a little bit more about recreational development. What's your approach to that and how have things changed recently?
So the first thing that we started is we haven't had a rec director since the 1990s. Actually, our current service director, Pat Hastings, who is like the local wizard. He's been here, knows a little bit about everything. He's taken almost every job in the city, and he's doing so well with us, not only pursuing grants, but also continue to help Sheffield Lake. And he was the last rec director, actually. We brought that back last year. So now we have our rec director, who's Scott Pedersen. And our job is to start creating some sort of outline of what we want people to be able to do and things they want to see. So one thing is we do have a couple sports leagues, but they're not related to the city. So the Sheffield Lake Youth Baseball, it's a nonprofit. The Sheffield Lake Youth Soccer is a nonprofit, but however we can function and help them is important. Additionally, we're starting new things like Walk with the Mayor. We do yoga. We have Playday meetups, which has been really successful. We meet up at a park. So we get different activities going there and different equipment so that people can meet their neighbors and also come out and do different things. Last Sunday, I was there making snow cones for kids. One of them, we had a bounce house. Our next one is going to be a foam party. We're starting an adult kickball league. And then on the other aspects, there's other events going on. We have movie nights. We also have started our food truck events, which we able to get multiple food trucks to come to the community center. And it's just a good opportunity for people to get some good food and then meet and talk to each other. And then also just little things, continue Christmas party, Halloween party for the city. Actually, we're working on doing a Dunkel Day, which I don't know if you're familiar with the Dunkel, but it was a prehistoric fish that dated before dinosaurs. It was found on Shell Cove. And actually, the guy found it down there in the 1800s. And one thing is, it was great that we finally started to bring some attention to it, but it kind of exploded a lot this year. If you're familiar with the Lake Erie Monsters, they had Fossil Night and the jersey had a Dunkel on it. The Cleveland Museum of History, they did a whole setup for this year. And then actually in the new Jurassic Park, there's one scene where there's Dunkelhead in there. It's a nice little story of Sheffield Lake and trying to include it and doing a Dunkel Day, just a way to bring attention to some of the cool things in Sheffield Lake.
Sure. Talk about your efforts in the beautification area.
And kind of works with Parks and Recs too. So obviously continue to develop parks because obviously having nice parks is huge. And one thing we've really been able to push is roads and development and walkways. One of the biggest things is we're working with the Metro Park right now. There is a part of our path. We have a walkable path that goes from Lake Road to Ferndale, and it gets cut off before you reach Harris because it's owned by the Metro Park. So I've worked with Jim over at the Metro Parks, and they're going to pave their part, which will then connect it to another path. We've been really working those paths. Call them sidewalk path project for Lake Road. There'll be 8-foot sidewalks, more of a path style. That's going to go from Lorraine to Avon Lake so that people can walk, jog, whatever. It's not only for safety, but also get people to use Lake Road. And those are going to link in. We've also obtained grants to put sidewalking on Abbey Road and onto Miller Road. And then also we're working on really revamping the roads in West Drive. We just finished Alameda. We're talking over $1 million a road when you really sit down and do it right. Because one thing you'll see in Sheffield Lake is updating drainage. We have pipes that are over 100 years old. We're able to do a lot of the main streets within the last 10 years. And now we're working on obviously the not as big streets, but trying to develop that. And we've been able to obtain a lot of grant money, but also just paving. So we've really pushed paving. We try to have a road list every year. We pave anywhere from 8 to 10 streets a year. And then obviously continue to work on parks and find ways to enhance those. Our Gunther Park, we did a master plan for that, and that's where we're getting sidewalks. One thing I've done in the last 2 years is really build a relationship with Ford Motor Company. So meeting with their execs and their connections that are actually from Detroit. Meeting with them, and one of the biggest things we've been able to obtain is they're donating to us $250,000 to build a splash pad. Doing little things like that, splash pad, updating some of the equipment at these parks, and then also continue to give resources to people. So we're trying to have shredders here more than once a year so people can shred papers and toss that. And then also we do have our Pride Day where we go around and really spruce up some of these parks. So those are the big areas right now.
Talk about the communications efforts.
Communication is huge. So I think that was a huge reason why I ran. So when I was on city council, I started on city council right after I graduated law school, 2017. My first year, I started doing just update videos just for my ward at my little Facebook, and 3 or 4, just what's going on in council, what things are going on. And just on that council page, I believe I had 500-600 people who were following it regularly just to make sure they're up to date. And I think that was one thing that people really wanted. They wanted more information, and they wanted, where to go information. The biggest thing we did was we started a newsletter. So a newsletter goes out in every water bill. So it's one page. Additionally, I continue to do my update videos. So I do those once a month, and then those get posted on. When I got here, the first thing we did was create a Facebook because we never had a city Facebook. The nice thing about it too is it's purely informational. You can't comment on it. The point is, let's get the information out. Let's make sure people are getting the right things. And then I think one of the biggest thing is anytime someone calls in and they want to meet with me, they get a meeting with me. Doesn't matter if I know it's a issue that they want to talk about or something when I ask, I want to make sure that I'm approachable, that I'm there. And then the biggest thing for me too is I try to go to as much as I can, whether it's as simple as a movie night or a Brookside basketball game or going to any type of fundraiser that a community member might be doing. So making sure that I'm out there and people are seeing me so that they can ask me. And then additionally with that, we are doing well with the mayor. We haven't been getting the greatest turnouts the first year, which is fine. Once a month, I also go to Big B's and I'm there. And if people come up and they can ask, we do a meeting with the mayor. So really is giving people the ability to be able to communicate with.
I really like that idea of the walk with the mayor. I think it's just a unique way to connect with residents. When you talk with them, what are some of the feedback that they give you, both positive and negative, or ways of improvements?
A lot of times they'll say, hey, we should do this. And literally they know this. Oh, we're already working on that. For example, one of the biggest things is, hey, can we get the rest of that path paved? I've been working on that for a year. Here's a splash pad. We're working on that. And then biggest thing is they obviously get a lot of good feedback. Hey, I really like what you're doing. I like that we see you out here. We like these update videos. And then obviously there's always, hey, this road needs repaired or this needs to go. So is hearing that and also communicating with the right people and giving them the correct information. So very rarely would that answer be no. It's when can we do it and what's the time frame? Because obviously it's resources, but it's also timing. Knowing that we have some of these roads that are 100 years old, the pipes, the drains, it's okay, we're starting with the worst and working our way up. To you, it might seem like it's the worst road in the world, and it probably could be. Absolutely. Trust me, sometimes there's a road 10 times worse. But I think is one thing that we're really good at is getting that information to the right department so that we can find the best correction as fast as possible. And whether it's filling a pothole, that's an easy thing. We tell PEG, get somebody out there the next day, we get it filled. Now, it's a little harder with property maintenance because our building department is 2 people and we have 9,000 residents. We're the most dense city in the county, so it's not easy to get through that all the time. And the difference is some of these other places is you have a building department of 20 people, and some of them are just focused on property maintenance. Some are just on variances. Some are just on reviewing things. Our guys doing it all. It's making sure that not only that we are getting them out there, but also making sure that even if we know it might take a while to get there, is making sure that it's on our radar and stays on our radar. So making sure that we're documenting when someone calls, when it comes in, and how long we get back to them. Because nothing can be more frustrating than, hey, I talked to you 3 months ago out this, where we're at. Oh, I don't even have it on my sheet. At least if I say, look, it's on my sheet, there's 2 people ahead of you still, whatever. And that's the thing, is some of the biggest complaints, which is really simple, is people are just getting incorrect information. I saw online here, I saw on this. Well, what Facebook you look? Oh, the Sheffield Lake group page. Well, that's not the city's website. So please go to the right, go to City Hall, go to our Facebook, go to our website. That's where you're going to get the facts. And I'll say is, everyone on the administration, they are always willing to take a call. That's the biggest thing, is it's not necessarily complaints. It's usually led to incorrect information.
Sheffield Lake benefits from being right on Lake Erie. What are some of the things you're doing with the lake?
That's a huge focus that I want to continue to work on. So our boat launch, obviously, we get a lot of use on that. Some of the things that they do is, one of our local businesses does a huge fishing tournament every year, and it's huge. They're getting thousands of people to come, and the prize money is huge. Right now, we're just trying to make sure that we're developing the lakefront parks. We have 3, 4, kind of making sure that the equipment's up there. And then that's why we're doing the movie nights over at the community center. We want to show off the lake. But one thing that we did apply for, and we're going to continue to apply for until hopefully we can obtain a grant, is trying to get some grant money so we can create a lakefront development plan. Because one of the biggest thing is people understanding is, yeah, you can put whatever you want on the lake if you have unlimited money. The biggest thing is you get this development plan so that engineers who know this stuff can say, hey, this is stuff that is obtainable on the lake, and this is what you can do. So I'm really big on developing the plan so we know we can go after. So first thing I did when I got in here is we created a master plan for the city. I had around 500 people responded to the survey, and we developed a master plan for parks and everything. And then right now we're working on an ATP grant we got, which creates an active transportation master plan, which will help us decide on where to put bike lanes and sidewalks and what kind of transportation is needed. So the next part is getting that plan for the lake, because that's our huge asset, but being able to develop. And I think it's a good time because Avon Lake, obviously they're working on their project over there. And I know Lorraine's doing some work over on their lakefront. So now it's really a good time for us to start committing to that.
You're part of a broader lakeshore corridor in Lorain County with Avon Lake and Lorain and Vermilion. Are you guys collaborating together?
So we don't have anything specific now, but I'll say is the one nice thing is I have a good relationship with all of them. We've talked about, hey, when the right opportunity comes, let's work together. But I'll say is one good thing we do is we support each other. And Avon Lake, Mark says this all the time. He says, what's good for Sheffield Lake is good for the area, which is good for the county. Same thing with Avon Lake. What's good for Avon Lake is good for the area, good for the county. And he truly believes that. And I believe that too. And I know that once the right opportunity comes, there'll be no doubt that we'll be able to work together.
What is the biggest opportunity for Sheffield Lake going forward?
Really continue what we are. Like I said, is those 3 areas. Those are 3 areas that I didn't just pick. I've been on council for 6 years. I've lived in Sheffield Lake my whole life. My family's been here. I've worked in different cities. So those are the areas that everything that's ever been told me what we should do falls into one of those categories. Continue to enhance that and make it just a great place to live. And I think one opportunity that's really nice is our housing market's nice. The prices in Avon Lake are much different than Sheffield. It's still a nice place where you can get affordable house that you can raise a family. And we have a fantastic school system, and we're brother sisters with the village because we use the same school system. We have multiple parks. You want to go to Cleveland, we're 20 minutes away. You want to go to Sandusky, we're 30 minutes away. And I think that it's just continue to grow it as a place to still be that small time community, but also develop us in those 3 areas to give people the biggest bang for the buck. I think our opportunity is taking those 3 areas and enhancing it. And that's what we're doing with pushing for, obviously, enhancing our parks. We're pushing for a rec center. There's a group that's looking to push and possibly do some development at the shopping center. There's people who are looking to develop the old Abbey lumber. One of the biggest things I really want to push is this rec center. We're hoping to present in front of council in October, and we're going to have to bond it out, which the nice thing about bonding out is it's not going to cost any more tax money. We know we can afford it. Obviously, just like a car, you finance things because you make payments and it gets paid off. If we do it right, it should hopefully pay for itself or even be a money maker. Now, the goal is just for it to pay for itself and give us the access for families and give the recreational development for that. And the goal is to make it work with our community center. We own the land across from there, and we've already had engineering design what it would look like and how the space works out. It's not going to be a YMCA, but it'll be a small rec center, whether with the basketball court, a workout area, turfed area, outdoor fields. The goal is something for everyone, from silver sneakers to movie nights in there to laser tag to soccer to batting cages, just something that everybody can do.
I think those are so important for building a sense of community.
Absolutely. And I'll say is one biggest thing is a lot of people, they play softball and volleyball in Elyria, and I think that's a huge thing for them. And you don't need a YMCA to do that. If you have the room and you have the programming, people love it. And that's the thing is people understand, yeah, it's a rec center, so you can do anything. You can do classes in there, whatever. And we've been blessed where Nathan Manning has already secured $600,000 towards it. We're working with, hopefully, Ford somehow wants to partner with us at some point. We are eventually going to partner. We've already met with Lorain County Community College to partner with them, and we're going to continue to get partners. We just know this is huge because the master plan that was written 20 years ago, the rec center is mentioned. The master plan that was written last year, the rec center is mentioned. And our goal is to make it something for everyone, but also be low cost. And I think that the work that Pat Hastings and I and grant writers that I work with and stuff and putting this together, I think we have a good facility that we know is within our price range, but also is going to be very beneficial. And obviously if it goes well, then hopefully part 2 is expansion. But I think I've talked to so many people and they're all on board. They're very excited about it. Not everybody who's on board about things comes to council. That's a small bit of people, 4 or 5 people there. Developing what we have and keeping it in the same momentum of what the overall goal is, I think that's our biggest effort.
Let's switch over and talk about you. What's your background?
I come from a big family. I'm one of 7. I have 4 older sisters, an older brother, and younger brother. Dad grew up in Sheffield Lake. Mom grew up all over Cuyahoga County. I grew up in a house where they were mixed. So my dad's side, they were very Democrat liberal. My mom's side is very conservative Republican. I'll say that my parents did a really good job at explaining, like, all that matters is treating people right. And I think they've always said, look, they've both voted on both sides and agree with opinions on both sides. It's you vote for the right person, not the right party. It's been a really good thing that I've grown up with. I went to Brookside High School. I played 3 varsity sports there. Then I went to Westminster College where I played football and baseball there. Then I went to law school at Cleveland State. And while I was in Cleveland State, I started interning in Lorain, and that's where I met the law director here. And he got me on a board, and then from a board, he said, you should run for council, and then just spawned. I never really thought I was going to be in this position, but I grew up in a Catholic family, and I'm still very active in St. Thomas, our church over here. And I just know, like, go where God puts you, and this is where he put me. And I'm very into sports. I'm very into movies. I'm just a little bit into everything. I still live in Sheffield Lake.
What led you to run for mayor?
I was on council. I tell people all this time, my career as an attorney and my passion is Sheffield Lake. I've been here my whole life. And I think growing up, different situations, whether it was with the school or what was going on, there's some people would have their opinions and say different things. I'm from here and I know that's not true. And I know that there's so much more to offer. And just being here and growing up here, there's so much potential. I think I'm in a beneficial area where it's a part-time job. So I was able to keep my regular job, but also run here. If I had to just commit to one or the other, I don't know where I'd end up. Obviously, I'd love to be there full-time. It's just not in the cards. But I think the fact that it's not a full-time job is it limits the pool because some people can and can't commit to part-time as well. And I'm still younger. I have 1 child, so I still have time that I can give. And obviously, I'm just in a position that I'm able to do both. I wasn't happy with where we were going. And I think those 3 areas aren't just things people said they wanted, but those are usually when they say they want that, those are things they're not getting. So I knew that I felt that I was the best person at that time period with where I was in my life to be able to come in and make some of those changes and get some of those things going. And I'll tell you, for me, it's just always been giving back. And from volunteering Big Brothers Big Sisters to working at the Y where I was coaching kids to volunteering, I was the president of the Sheffield Lake Youth Baseball League. I was in Big Brothers Big Sisters growing up, all that kind of thing. It's just like, how can I give back to people that have given to me? And I think I came from Sheffield Lake. I went to law school. I became a lawyer. Regardless, everyone has their own experience, but I wouldn't be where I'm at without this city and with going to high school at Brookside. So to give back and help them prove that what they're doing, we're on the right path. So I just felt that it was just a good timing.
Since you've been mayor, what are you most proud of accomplishing?
My accomplishments in each area is really big. So I think really making sure that I always come back to what I ran on, because in the end, that's what got me elected. I didn't win because of me trying to decide what I thought was best for the. It's what people want. From roads to, we're going to have $5 million of road projects this year. We continue to get more grant money to do our sidewalk projects, getting the path done over there, continue to develop the parks. Then obviously from communication aspect is now everybody, like, the only reason you wouldn't know what's going on is because you didn't check your water bill or you didn't look at the right thing. Getting that aspect. Rec department is getting someone specifically working on recreational activity, from, like I said, the movie nights to the food truck events to adult soccer to youth soccer to just everything we're doing. And I think continue to add with the splash pad coming and hopefully the future goal of a rec center. I think those are my accomplishments. And I'm very good friends with previous Mayor John Pesquera. His son is one of my best friends. And I've talked to him many times about the city. And I look up to John. He's a big reason that we have the boat launch. And some of his ideas were pretty much on the same page. But what always hit me is why I love being there at Sheffield Lake is you do a small thing, it means a lot. Because it's a small city and there's money limitations. Get a bunch of small things and you're going to make the biggest change. Getting a splash pad in Cleveland maybe isn't as big, or in Westlake, but getting a splash pad in Sheffield Lake, it's huge. It seems small, but it's huge for the city. And that's what I keep working on, the small things, because they all add up.
How would you describe your leadership style? What principles shape how you lead, and what has influenced your leadership the most?
Probably my dad's influenced my leadership the most is growing up, and both of my parents, is we came from a big family, but it was always about giving back and helping. So we would shovel the neighbors' driveways. We would mow their lawns. My dad volunteered for the fish fry. My dad volunteered to coach. My dad, he was Mr. Fix-It on the street. So it was always not what some people can do for us, what we can do for others. And I'm very much a servitude leadership style. On my law degree and my first election certificate, there's two quotes on there. One is from the Bible. It's from Matthew, and it says, "What you do to the least of us is how you treat me." Always remembering, like, it doesn't matter where this person's from or whether you agree with them, disagree with them, like, you're still going to treat them with respect. You're still going to treat them right. And then on the other one is Henry Ford, and his is to do more for the world than the world does for you. That's success. So that's my idea, is that's where my servitude leadership comes from, is examples from my parents and my family, but also just those are the people I admire the most. And then my other aspect is, it's the old saying, you want to be the dumbest in the room. So surround yourself with people that are good on each topic. And I'll say is one of the aspects that I learned young from a teacher of mine, Mr. Smith, was you want to be an inch thick and a mile wide. So you want to know a little bit about everything and you'll be able to communicate with everyone. So making sure that I at least have some understanding of each department, from the sheriff's department to law department to building department, so that I can communicate, but also putting the people in those positions that specialize in that so I can make the best decision. The administration, they are free to tell me their opinion if they think something will work or not. Obviously, my big caveat is if you think it's not going to work, there better be followed up with what will work, because if you don't have a solution, then it's just complaining. So the administration has changed my mind on thoughts and decisions I made, but they've also just helped strengthen my decision making, because I'm getting all the information, but those are the people I trust. Those are the people that, I'll go to bat for them and they will for me, because we're all here together. We all want to make Sheffield Lake the best place we can. And I'll say two of my administrators, one being the law director and one being the service director, are both Sheffield Lake. They grew up here. They went to Brookside, and end goal has always been, how do we make Sheffield Lake better? And my leadership style is taking the advice from people. It's not only the smart aspect, but also listening to citizens. So obviously you have to filter through, because, there's a million things you're doing right. There's a million things you're doing wrong. But when you talk to enough people, you consistently can understand what kind of decisions they expect you to make or they think you should make, making sure that I'm considering those. So I'm not one of those people who just makes a decision, it's over. And I'll tell you, if you come in and you say something to me and you want me to make a decision in that moment, the answer is going to be, I'll talk to you in 2 or 3 days. I want to collect the correct information. I want to know what's going on so that whatever decision I make, I can justify. And I feel that every decision I've made as mayor so far, I can explain and justify why I did that. And that's my leadership style.
Outside of work, what are your interests and hobbies, and how do they help recharge you?
One is workout. So I'm still very active in sports. I play actually hardball still every Sunday. It's on a 25 and older adult league. Still get involved and watch wrestling. One thing I do is, like last year I went to SummerSlam. And then I'm a big movie guy. I'll say is, what's nice to have a movie pass. So I see a lot of movies, and it's a good release, because it's one of those things, like I have to turn my phone off to go to the movie. And I know for 2 hours, I can just enjoy a movie. And then last, I just have my first son. So I'm getting to the point where it's exciting to start doing things with him. And I'm sure that what's going to recharge me is going to change a lot as he grows. But I do have a lot of nieces and nephews that age from 19 all the way down to 2. Spending different time with them and seeing them, those are the things. And going to some of these events, like when I go to movie night and every kid's having fun, or you meet a kid and she goes, "You're the mayor?" "Yeah," because I've never thought I'd meet a mayor before. Those are little things that mean a lot. Yeah, that's where I spend a lot of my time. I still feel in for volleyball. We're starting a kickball league. If you want to join, if you got time still, and I'll be doing that.
Is there anything we didn't ask that you'd want to talk about? Where can people go to get more information on Sheffield Lake and connect with you?
First of all, anyone can call me. Call 949-7141. Kathy is here. Ask for Kathy. She's my administrator. She's amazing. She keeps me on track, keeps me on time. Additionally, there's so much misinformation spread online. I've given you multiple avenues to get the correct information. Please use it. From the newsletter to simply just calling me, to our Facebook, to our website. No one here is hiding any answers. We will tell you what we can tell you. And that's important because, when you're making a decision, whether it's at the ballot or whether it's just your day to day, like having all the information to make the best decision is the best for everyone. Like I said, our newsletter goes out. Our website is constantly updated. Every day we're posting on that Facebook as much as we can. That's all just purely information. You're not going to see comments or arguments. It's just just get your facts. Additionally, like I said, is we have our walk with the mayor. We have mingle with the mayor, and it's a small city. You'll find me somewhere. I would just encourage is reach out and email me, whatever you want to do. I will get back to you. I promise. That was one thing that was big on my campaign, was that I was going to listen, but also respond and being responsive. And I think I've done a really good job on that. And anybody who's called, left a message, given us correct information to contact them has gotten called back. I'm confident in that. There's many avenues. Please use that.
Thank you, Mayor Radeff, for joining us and sharing your insights.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys being here. And as always, if you have any questions, concerns, please contact.
Thank you for listening to the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast. Each episode, we share conversations with the people shaping life in Lorain County, from business and government to education, nonprofits, healthcare, and entertainment. Be sure to follow or subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. You can also visit LoraineCounty.com to discover local events, volunteer opportunities, and more community resources. If you know someone who's making a difference in Lorain County, send us a note at podcast@LoraineCounty.com. We would love to share their story and insights. Special thanks to our producer, Leah Gerke, and to you for listening. This has been the LoraineCounty.com Insights Podcast, conversations with the people shaping Lorain County.